I'm a 22-year-old female, but the story takes place back when I was 21. I live in a small town and I work in a pub in the town center. I eat 2 pubs, 2 small shops, and a bank. On my walk home, I walk past one of the shops which also has a small shelter next to it. Buses run every hour-ish, but none run after 8 p.m. After that, it's just residential housing, and then my house near the end of the road. All in all, from my job and my house, it's about an 8-minute walk. My town is usually dead after 10 p.m., as everything is closed, and I would genuinely say it was relatively safe. I never had a problem with walking home alone. This incident happened on New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day, so the pubs were open later. I finished my shift at around 1:30 a.m., and me, my boss, boyfriend, and 2 other coworkers went to the pub next door for a drink before we went home. It was about 2:30 a.m. when I realized what time it was and that I needed to get home. My boyfriend lives on the other side of town, and I wasn't staying at his that night. My boss insisted on driving me home, and I kept insisting he stays, as everyone else was enjoying themselves and talking about the Christmas period we had at work. Same with my boyfriend. He insisted on walking me home, but I was adamant that I was fine, and it literally is less than a 10-minute walk. After a lot of pushback, I told him I was walking home. I really enjoy walking without headphones, having a cigarette, especially after a shift, because it genuinely is so silent and peaceful. I didn't pass or see anybody until I got to walking past the shop. Like I mentioned previously, there was a small bus shelter next to it, and as I got closer, I realized there was a man sat on the bench on the bus stop. Bear in mind, it was nearly 3 a.m., and even the pub we were at wasn't actually open anymore. They just let us in because we worked in the other pub. I didn't really think much of the man, but as I got closer, I realized I had served him at my shift earlier in the night. He looked up as I was walking, and I realized he was sniffing some sort of drug, most likely cocaine, from his keys. I didn't actually know who he was, and I still don't know, but he didn't seem threatening. He just looked like he was kind of chilling. Probably not the best choice of words. He did meet my eyes though, and I was actually walking past the bus shelter. He said something along the lines of, "Sorry darling, do you have a lighter I can borrow?" I was smoking as I was walking, so he knew I would have had one. I stopped, and he was already walking towards me, so I started digging for one of the many lighters I had in my bag. I was fully intent just letting him keep it. I'm not the type to stand with a 30-something-year-old man while he's lighting a cigarette. Then he asked me for a cigarette, but I told him I had just lit my last one. During this whole interaction, he was very close to me, but I was kind of frozen in place. I realized that I had stopped and was stood with the man in a dead street where nobody was around. I was still in the part of town where there wasn't any housing for another couple of minutes, and if anyone had come out of the pub, I was too far where they would have seen me. I just started mumbling something like, "Keep the lighter, I've got to go." But this man who I'd spoken to for about 20 seconds told me, "Just stop for a second." And where my feet had started to turn away, I stopped again. I know I should have just walked away, but I thought maybe he was innocent enough. I didn't want to give a reason to provoke him if I just walked away from him. This time, his demeanor switched. He wasn't very polite to start with, but it's like him telling me to stop made me realize I was a young woman walking alone at this time of night. I genuinely still get chills thinking about what he said. He looked me up and down and said, "You know, I've been real angry. I've been waiting for someone to hurt all night. Should be walking around here alone." My legs literally turned into jelly in that moment. I didn't even know if my phone was in my pocket or my bag. I looked around and I said, "I'm not alone. My boyfriend's waiting for me around the corner. I will be with him in just a minute," and smiled. Just a bare-faced lie. My boyfriend was still in the pub and had no clue this interaction was going on. I thought maybe I should walk myself back to the pub, but I decided not to. My house was closer. The man smirked as if he knew I was chatting absolute bullshit, and said he would walk with me to meet my boyfriend. There was no boyfriend waiting for me around the corner. I kept saying there was no need, but he was literally on my tail, rambling about how I don't understand him, how I don't get him, how I need to walk with him, how he wasn't going to hurt me. This whole time I was thinking about how he was going to grab my hair or pull me down to the ground, and at any minute he was going to realize there was no boyfriend waiting. I ended up pulling my phone out of my pocket. I opened it up to a work group chat and just typed a message about a man walking with me, realizing my phone was on 2% and thinking I just wanted someone to know what was happening. I didn't dare go to call my boyfriend. This guy started mumbling about how I wasn't listening to him. By some miracle, when we turned around the corner onto the street, the guy didn't realize my boyfriend wasn't there. Or maybe he did, but he didn't say anything. He did up his behavior though. He started spewing the most perverted shit to me, saying about how I was such a pretty young girl. "I bet your boyfriend doesn't know how to handle you." Whole time I wasn't speaking, just speeding up and checking my phone discreetly. I realized that he was going to know where my house was, so I just thought, I'm going to have to pretend one of these houses was mine, otherwise I'd be leading it right back to my house where my dad was asleep. All of the houses on the street had a small gate and footpath leading to the door, so I chose a house with the light on and opened their gate. I turned to the guy and said, "This is me, see you, thanks for walking me," closing the gate behind me. I ran up to the door and shoved the key into the door that wasn't even mine and prayed this guy would leave and wouldn't wait for me to go inside the house. Thankfully he didn't, and started stumbling the opposite direction, back down the street away from where my actual house was. And what I thought was my only chance, I opened the gate and sprinted home. The guy clocked what I was doing instantly and started running in my direction. By the time I was at my house, he had either not cut up to me quick enough or had given up. When I put my key into the door, I realized my dad had left his in the door internally, meaning I was locked out. I got my phone out and realized it had died the whole time we were walking, so I just started banging the door. My dad let me in after a couple of minutes, and that was it. But it was absolutely terrifying. I've not walked home alone since, and my boyfriend was so upset that he didn't push more and let me walk home with him. Thankfully, I'm okay, and nothing physical has happened to me since. I'm in my 50s now, so I grew up predominantly in the 1980s. Living in Sydney, I had mom, dad, and my 2 younger sisters. On the occasions my parents decided to go out, we had family to look after us. By the time I was 12, my parents decided they would trust me to finally babysit my sisters. This story occurred on the very first night I babysat. My parents had decided to go out for the movies and dinner on a Saturday night. They had found a midnight screening of one of their favorite movies from their childhood, so they knew they wouldn't be home until 1 or 2 a.m. At around 11 p.m., we were still staying up late, lights all off, watching TV, and we heard somewhat of a rustling in our front yard. Easily putting it down to wind or a cat, I didn't worry too much. Within 2 minutes later, we heard bangs at our front door, way louder than a normal friendly visitor. The 3 of us were terrified. We became a bit more collected, but still silent, and turned the TV off. Even in the 80s, there was no way in hell I was going to open the door to anyone, especially that late at night, and I knew it wasn't our folks. Another time there was a bang at the door, so I decided to brave it a little to the front door. Fortunately, the door was almost completely wooden with just some thin stripes of heavily colored and frosted glass panels, so no one outside could see in, so we kind of crouched there and barely made out a figure at the door. Before we knew it, the doorknob was rattling. This person was trying to enter the house. Not knowing if they knew we were home and too scared to make it obvious, I had to do something. Luckily, we had a wooden doorstop. I quickly grabbed it and tried to quietly jam it under the door so that way it wouldn't be opened. Our only phone was right at the front door as well, so we were too scared to use it in case he heard us. So I ushered my sisters upstairs to my parents' room, where we just huddled. I knew we could see the front stoop from my parents' window, but it didn't have blinds, just heavy curtains. But I couldn't resist not looking. My sisters, of course, feeling the same. We ended up slowly putting our heads underneath the curtains so that we didn't have to pull them open and look out the front. What happened next has fueled our nightmares for life. We saw this old man. His eyes were dead focused right on us the second we looked out, like he knew exactly where we were in the house, waiting to catch our gaze. He had the most menacing, scowling face. We saw he was holding something, a brown paper bag. He held it by the top, making it obvious that something was inside, and slowly lifted it up to beside his head. He then lifted up his other arm with a finger pointing at the bag, and very slowly moving his forearm back and forth, creepily gesturing to whatever was in the bag. The whole thing lasted all of 5 seconds before we all ducked our heads back down, recoiling in fear. I stepped about a minute later, moved to the very edge of the window, praying I may see without him seeing me through the opening of the side of the curtain. I could just see, and he was gone. My sisters and I huddled together, scared for ages on the floor of the bathroom, and I don't remember much else, just our parents coming home and us in hysterics telling them. I think my dad made a police report, but that was about it. He was never seen by us again. I have and will forever be desperate to know who that man was and when he went it with us, and what the hell was in that paper bag that night.